Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about Route 53 service. So Route 53 is the DNS service in AWS. DNS, it stands for Domain Name System. Now, before I talk about Route 53 concepts in detail and show you a demo how we can use it with our applications, I want to talk about DNS first. This is because we all use DNS in our day-to-day life. So it is important to understand how we all are related to it. And then once you do that, then you will be able to understand Route 53 very easily. All right. So let's start. So DNS or the domain name system, by definition, it is the way by which you can translate human readable domain names to machine readable IP addresses. Now, what is the meaning of this? If I talk about the most simplest example that you can relate to is if you from your laptop is trying to access a website on a web browser. Okay, so you put this website name in the browser and you hit enter and you are able to access it. Now, how this whole process is actually happening? So there's a mechanism that happens behind the scenes. It's called DNS or domain name system, wherein what happens, the website address that you have entered in the browser, it is going to be converted to an IP address. Okay. And then the browser is going to redirect you to that IP address based website address. This is because our web browser is not able to understand this website address like this. In the example, as you see, www.amazon.com. So our web browsers do not understand this type of address to access a website. They only understand IP addresses. So this entire mechanism which converts this website address to an IP address is called DNS on a very high level. But now we will understand how this DNS actually works. Okay, so there's an entire workflow which happens behind the scenes. And also from interview point of view, it is very important to understand this, because in an interview, it can be asked that what is DNS and how does it work. So once I explain you this concept, okay, with all the things that are there, so then you will be able to understand it well, and you will never forget it. Trust me. Okay, so let's start with the very basic concepts. So in DNS, we have 4 types of DNS servers. Remember this. Okay, so the 4 types of DNS servers are DNS Recursive Resolver, DNS Root Name Server, TLD or Top Level Domain Name Server, and Authoritative Name Server. Okay, so let's talk about these. So when DNS mechanism is happening, then these 4 type of different DNS servers, they work together to do, what they're supposed to do, to convert a website address into an IP address. Okay, and these are just their names. Okay, DNS name server, DNS recursive resolver. Then you have this root name server. Okay, top level domain name server and authoritative name server. So now we will understand how these 4 type of DNS servers are working together to establish the DNS mechanism. Okay, so as you can see in the diagram, so this is the most generic way of establishing a DNS system. Okay, so here you can see I have just marked this workflow as number 1, number 2, so that you understand from where the things are flowing. Okay, so we'll start with the very basic. So let me just go into this tab here. Okay, so as I mentioned, you are from your laptop is trying to access a website on a web browser. The website name is www.example.com in our case. Okay, so you are able to access the website. This is fine, but how the things are working has been explained in this diagram. So so when you try to put the website address in the browser, what happens initially? A DNS query is generated. Okay, and that DNS query is sent to DNS Recursive Resolver. So this is the first DNS server that takes the request from the user, okay, to convert this website into IP address. Now, I mean, what is this DNS recursive resolver? If you are using a Wi-Fi connection at your home, or a broadband connection, or any internet connection, okay, which is given by your internet service provider, this router or this Wi-Fi router is the DNS recursive resolver. It has its own DNS configured in it. Okay, so whenever you're trying to access any website, the request will go to this router first. So this router is going to be your DNS recursive resolver, and what it will do, this recursive resolver has the ability to store DNS cache. Now, what is DNS cache? If you have visited this particular website in the past, then it is going to store that information in its cache. It's called DNS cache. Okay, and this DNS cache is stored for a particular time period. That time period is called time to live, or TTL. Okay, so if this resolver has this information already stored in its DNS cache, then it is going to give it back to your browser, and you will be able to access the website really fast. Okay, because the details of the website to IP address mapping was already available with this router only, which is the DNS recursive resolver, and it was able to give it back to your this web browser, and you are able to access the website. This is fine. Now, in case this DNS recursive resolver does not have this information, so whatever website you are trying to access, it does not have it stored in its DNS cache. Okay, and there may be two reasons to it. Either that TTL, or the time to live, has expired to store that information, or you have never visited this website before. Okay, so it doesn't know anything about this particular website, which is www.example.com in our case. In that case, what it's going to do, it's going to forward the request to the second type of DNS server, which is called DNS root name server. Okay, so this recursive resolver is going to forward the request to DNS root name server. Now, the main work of this DNS root name server is to identify TLD name server for that particular website which is being requested. Now, what is the meaning of this top level domain name server? I'll tell you. So any website that you access, in our case it is www.example.com, the last part of the website, in this case it is .com. Each of this part is called top level domain. So top level domain here, it is .com. So for each top level domain, there's a particular name server that is assigned already. Okay, so this root name server is going to look at the name of the website that you're trying to access. It is going to identify this root level domain, which is .com, and then it is going to give the information of the top level domain name server to the DNS recursive resolver. Right? So as you can see, this is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. So DNS root name server has given the information of top level domain name server back to the recursive resolver. So now this recursive resolver has the information of the top level domain name server. Now, what it's going to do, it's going to contact the top level domain name server this time. So the same request which came from the user to identify the website's IP address will be forwarded to top level domain name server this time. As you can see, it is number 4. Now, the job of this top level domain name server is to find out the authoritative name server information. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm going to explain these terms also in much more detail, but just understand that this DNS architecture has 4 types of DNS servers, and this is how these 4 servers work together to resolve a DNS query for a user. Okay, so it starts with this DNS recursive resolver. It then is forwarded to DNS root name server, then to TLD name server, and this is the last stop, which is authoritative name server. So now this TLD name server has given the information of authoritative name server to your DNS recursive resolver. Okay, so this is number 4, this is number 5. Now this recursive resolver is going to forward the request to the authoritative name server, which was given by TLD name server. So this is going to be step 6. So now the request has been forwarded to authoritative name server, and this is the last stop for your DNS query. Okay, so this is where the records are kept. So this record, which is shown here, is being kept with the authoritative name server. So I mean, once the request is forwarded to authoritative name server, it is going to look it in something called as hosted zones. Okay, so it has hosted zone where this information is kept. So it's going to look into it, and then it's going to revert with that information to the recursive resolver. Okay, so this is the stop, or this is the point where this information is revealed, or you can say this information is retrieved. Okay, I mean, website to IP address mapping. So I mean, once the information is sent back to the recursive resolver, it is going to send it back to the user's web browser, and the browser will be able to access the website. Okay, so this is how the things work. 6, then number 7, then number 8, and then number 9, and this is how the user is able to access this website. Okay, and I mean, one more thing, it is going to cache that information as well in its DNS cache. Okay, for a time to live time period. Okay, so it depends. I mean, how much is the detail? Is it, I mean, 24 hours, 48 hours, or 3 days, depending on that, which is already configured on your router. So it's going to store this information as well. So next time when you're trying to access the same website, it is going to be pretty fast because it will be stored in its DNS cache, and it is, I mean, not going to forward the request to this root name server, and this entire, I mean, workflow will not be followed the next time, but only for the time to live. So I mean, if you're trying to access the same website after the TTL has expired for that record, then this entire process will be repeated. So this is how this DNS works behind the scenes. And if you just explain this to an interview to an interviewer in an interview, it's going to last a very good impression of you. Okay, so this is how DNS works in a nutshell. So whatever I have just explained it here in these 9 steps, as you see, all these steps have been documented in this GitHub repo also. You can see this workflow, the entire steps have been explained. Okay, so this is about the DNS concepts, how DNS works behind the scenes when we are trying to access a website on a web browser. I hope it was clear to you. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me in the comment section. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button, please subscribe to my channel, and please share this video with others so that it can help anyone who wants to learn DNS. Also, I also want to add that I'm on Discord now. The Discord URL will be in the description of this video, so you can join that, and if you want to ask anything, if you want to chat with me, I'm open to that. Alright guys, that's all for this video, and I'm going to see you in the next one.